They never told you the full story. They gave you half of the truth, dipped in shame, wrapped in silence. They taught you to fear your own desire, to lock it in a closet, to bury it beneath ambition, morality, and the illusion of control. But what if I told you that this force, the one you were told to suppress, ignore, or misinterpret, is the very thing that shapes your destiny? Napoleon Hill called it the most powerful form of energy ever discovered by man. He didn't call it dangerous. He called it transmutable. And there's a difference, because what you repress controls you, but what you channel transforms you. Think about it. Sex is the primal spark, the first fire, the silent architect of every empire, every invention, every revolution, the towering skyscrapers, the symphonies, the masterpieces. Behind them all was a man or woman driven by something deeper than logic, deeper than routine, a burning, a craving, a force that begged to be expressed beyond the physical. Look at history's greats. Edison didn't sleep much, but he dreamed more than most men alive. Ford wasn't driven by machines, he was driven by vision. Carnegie wasn't just building steel, he was building immortality. And Hill said it plainly. The men who reached the apex of achievement were, more often than not, driven by a high degree of sexual energy. But here's the truth no one wants to admit. Sex doesn't just live below the waist, it lives in your mind, in your spine, in your gut, and when left undirected, it leads to addiction, distraction, the slow leak of a man's potential. But when transmuted, when elevated, it becomes vision, power, magnetism. It becomes legacy. You were never meant to destroy your desire. You were meant to master it. The energy is not the enemy. Your ignorance of it is. Because the world is filled with men scrolling, swiping, lusting, chasing shadows, wasting years on illusions of conquest that leave them emptier with every encounter. And you know it. You feel it. That something isn't right. That every indulgence feels less like pleasure and more like escape. But here is your awakening. That same energy can be transmuted into unstoppable momentum. It can be used to build an empire, create art that pierces time, speak words that ignite revolutions. You don't need to eliminate your sexual energy. You need to redirect it, because within that craving is your genius, your ability to focus, your magnetism, your greatness. The ancient warriors knew this. The monks in silence knew it. Tesla knew it when he chose solitude over indulgence. Muhammad Ali knew it when he practiced abstinence before a fight to keep his edge razor sharp. These were not denials of pleasure. They were declarations of purpose. There is a war being waged on your focus, on your energy, and the battlefield is between your ears. You will be tempted to waste it, to trade it for moments of numb ecstasy that cost you years of power. But if you can learn to control it, to master it, to use it as the engine of your creativity and discipline, then you become dangerous. Understand this. Energy is never lost. It is only redirected. Every time you resist indulgence, you store power. Every time you rise above distraction, you gain clarity. And every time you take that energy and point it toward a goal, a vision, a mission that matters, you become magnetic. People feel it. The world senses it. Because there's nothing more compelling than a person who has tamed their inner fire. But to do this, you must redefine your relationship with desire. It is not shameful, it is sacred. It is the origin of life and the potential of your future. Let your desire evolve. Let it mature. Let it rise from the body into the mind, and from the mind into your actions. When Hill interviewed the titans of his time, he uncovered a startling pattern. The most successful men were not the most educated, not the most connected. They were the most driven. And that drive, more often than not, began as raw sexual energy. But here's the catch. They didn't waste it. They channeled it. Because behind every obsession lies a deeper yearning. And when you strip away the physical, what remains is the essence of ambition, the desire to create, to express, to conquer, to matter. Sexual energy is life force, creative force. And the moment you stop treating it as a burden and start treating it as a resource, you unlock something ancient, Something sacred. Let's be honest. Most men will never access this level. They'll remain addicts to their instincts, slaves to their urges, tricked by dopamine and digital illusions. But not you, because you are not average. You were not born to kneel before your cravings. You were born to rise above them, to command them, to use them as tools in the construction of something eternal. This is not about celibacy. This is not about repression. This is about choice, power, direction. The mature man knows when to indulge and when to transmute. He is not reactive. He is intentional. Every drop of energy is sacred, every second of focus, priceless. So the question is not, should you feel desire? The question is, what will you do with it? The world is watching. Your future is watching. And in the silence of your discipline, in the fire of your restraint, the seeds of greatness are quietly being sown. You are not here to waste this life. You are here to master it. What if right now the secret to your ultimate success lies not in working harder, not in grinding away for hours at a desk or in front of a screen, but in the silent force that you've been taught to fear, to suppress? What if the thing that's been hidden from you, shrouded in shame and guilt, is actually the key to unleashing your greatest potential? This isn't a call to the streets or a plea for your indulgence. This is an invitation to understand the depth of what has been buried deep within you, within every man and woman. The ancient forces of creation and destruction, the energies that shape civilization, break barriers, and build legacies. The question is, how can you harness the fire without letting it burn you to the ground? Napoleon Hill understood this better than anyone. He didn't simply see desire as a distraction or a weakness. He recognized it for what it truly is, a powerful engine of transformation. It's the fire in your soul, the spark that drives everything you do, everything you create, everything you become. And when you learn to channel that force, it no longer controls you. You control it. Consider the men and women who shaped history. Think of the leaders, the innovators, the conquerors. It wasn't their education, their wealth, or their networks that made them successful. It was their ability to transmute raw energy into something extraordinary. Take Edison, for instance. That man didn't just invent the light bulb. He harnessed the sexual energy that burned within him and used it to fuel a lifetime of tireless work, of intense focus, of vision. He took the raw power of desire and converted it into an idea that would change the world forever. And Ford, who revolutionized the automobile industry. What drove him was more than just business savvy. It was his relentless desire to create something that would leave a mark on the world. He understood that what he needed was more than just mechanical skill. He needed passion. He needed focus. He needed a force that would give him the energy to keep going when everyone else would have quit. But these men didn't just use their desire for physical pleasure. They knew how to transform it, to elevate it to something higher, something spiritual, something that would sustain them even in the darkest hours. And the moment you realize that your own desires, your own passions are the key to your success, everything changes. No longer will you be a slave to them. You will be their master. You've felt it, haven't you? That surge of energy, that intense rush, that deep craving that pushes you to create, to act, to push beyond your limits. But instead of nurturing it, instead of using it to propel you toward your goals, society tells you to bury it, to ignore it, to suppress it. But when you repress this energy, you're not eradicating it. You're just sending it underground, where it festers, weakens your spirit, and erodes your potential. But the truth is, the energy doesn't disappear. It transforms. It can either be transmuted into creativity, into vision, into leadership, into greatness, or it can be squandered on fleeting pleasures that drain you, that take more than they give. And this is where the real power lies, in learning how to transmute that energy, in understanding that what you do with your desires determines the trajectory of your life. This is the difference between a man who lives a life of greatness and a man who wastes away in the shadows of mediocrity. If you want to know the secret of success, the secret of achieving something truly extraordinary, it's not found in grinding harder, in hustling more, in overworking yourself until you burn out. It's found in learning to use your desire, your sexual energy, in a way that drives you toward your highest potential. There's a reason why the greats of history were often celibate, why they abstained from indulgence. It wasn't because they were denying themselves pleasure. It was because they understood that their energy was a resource that needed to be conserved, refined, and redirected. They weren't living in denial. They were living with a purpose. They were focused on something greater than instant gratification. The path to greatness is not paved with distractions, with self-indulgence, or with the empty promises of instant pleasure. It's paved with clarity, with vision, with discipline, and with the ability to harness the raw energy that exists within every single one of us. And when you learn to tap into that power, when you take that raw desire and turn it into something meaningful, there is no limit to what you can achieve. When Hill spoke of the power of sexual energy, he was talking about more than just sex itself. He was talking about the ability to create, to transform, to use the energy that flows through your body for something greater than yourself. He understood that this energy, when controlled and directed, could fuel the rise of empires, the creation of masterpieces, the revolution of industries. But it's not just about what you create, it's about what you become in the process. Because true power, true success, comes not from what you have, but from who you are. It's about becoming the kind of person who has mastered themselves, who has learned to direct their own desires, who is in control of their destiny. And that's the secret, isn't it? It's not about chasing success. It's about becoming someone who attracts it. Someone whose energy, whose vision, whose clarity is so magnetic that success has no choice but to follow them. This is the power of transmutation. This is the power of using your desires, not as distractions, but as the very fuel that propels you toward your dreams. Because if you understand this, if you truly grasp the potential of your own sexual energy, nothing will be able to stop you. No obstacle, no setback, no challenge will be too great for you. You will become unstoppable. And the moment you take control of your desires, you take control of your life. You take control of your future. You step into your true power, and nothing can ever take that away from you. So I ask you again, what will you do with it? What will you do with the fire that burns inside you? Will you let it consume you, or will you use it to light your way to greatness? The choice is yours. Subscribe to Stoic Trench, where ancient wisdom meets modern ambition, because your journey to greatness deserves fuel, direction, and a tribe that thinks bigger too.